infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the Palatial yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor, 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a Friday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all of great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, and of course, streaming live on YouTube. 855-212-4227 is the number to jump on in. That's 855-212-4227. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. I got Nico Kudavidis, Iamaliava, Scarlatos here with me today. That's a mouthful. A lot of syllables right there. In addition to Moist Mike in Mike Samter, and Moroccan and Roll will take you all the way up until 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. I did not anticipate last night when I was watching the Knicks-Lakers game for the lead of today's show not to have to do with something with that game, right? Because if we were talking about the Lakers and their win streak and the Knicks not being able to beat a good team, that wouldn't be surprising, right? Usually we start the show, though, something football related on a national radio program. But at the end of the game, and I watched the game last night, it went into overtime, and then I woke up this morning and I see that there was an interaction between King James, LeBron James, and right now the king of sports media, Mr. $100 million man himself after that new contract. That's a very nice deal. In Stephen A. Smith, where LeBron James confronted Stephen A. Smith over something that Stephen A. Smith said about LeBron James' son, Bronny. So, I'm like, what were the original comments? Because I remember something like just a week ago, where LeBron James probably heard Stephen A. Smith say something along the lines on First Take of, hey, Stephen A. was saying, LeBron, I'm begging you, just stop this Bronny James experience. Like, do it as a father. All righty, like, that's not the end of the world. Bronny James is in a position to be an NBA player. People could have an opinion on if he can hang in the NBA or not. But that's Stephen A. Smith's opinion. I really thought it was nothing. But I guess on the good old cesspool of Twitter, and right, all the Twitter investigators, they actually said the comments that LeBron James took issue with was on the Stephen A. Smith show, which is on his YouTube show, which I will say you see a different version of Stephen A. And it's a version of Stephen A. that I'm going to be honest, I really like. On the Stephen A. Smith show, it is kind of late night television vibe. Stephen A. unfiltered. Stephen A. could talk a little politics. Stephen A. could talk about some pop culture things, some real world issue things. When he's on First Take, I'm not saying it's buttoned up Stephen A. Smith, but it's Disney Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A., right, can be polarizing. Stephen A. will give an opinion, but you know what the meat and potatoes are of First Take. It's sports. Give the opinion on the NFL, on the NBA, right, and the sports topics. The Stephen A. Smith show is Stephen A.'s basically audition for late night television, more than just sports, or maybe a little presidential race for Stephen A. Smith. As there are some rumors that Stephen A. Smith, even though he has denied it and he said it will not happen, that he could be in line to be the Democratic nominee to be president of the United States in 2028. How do you like them apples? Even though Stephen A. Smith said he will not run for president. So it's a good time to be Stephen A. Smith, right? $100 million contract. You're living up life. You're enjoying yourself. All that stuff. And then after the game, up against the Lakers and the Knicks, as he's sitting courtside, by the way, You have Stephen A. Smith sitting courtside with Larry David. So it's Larry David, Stephen A. Smith sitting courtside, and I gather when the game ended, LeBron James confronted Stephen A. Smith and basically gave LeBron a stern talking to. And I guess it was all about the Bronny comments that he made. And he basically did keep my son's name out your bleeping mouth. That's basically what happened. But let's play you the comments before I give you my opinion. And I think you know which way I'm going to go on this. But I'm a fair person. And I want you to hear, listen, and react and formulate your own opinions. So these are the original comments called into question. This is on the Stephen A. Smith Show, and this is Stephen A. Smith on January 30th of 2025. So we're going back to January, where Stephen A. Smith called out Bronny James.
Playing together for the first time in NBA history. It was a special moment. My position has always been that should have been the only moment we saw Bronny James in a Lakers uniform this season because he's not ready. I think the kid will be in the NBA one day. I watched him in the G League doing this thing. I think he's going to be fine eventually. But that's not the case yet. And because it's not the case yet, Bronny James has played in 13 NBA games. Ladies and gentlemen, he's averaging 0.3 points, 0.3 assists, and 0.4 rebounds. He shot 1 for 16 from the field in his NBA career and 0 for 7 from three-point range. And he's playing in the first quarter of an NBA game? Really? Come on. I'm not being cruel to Bronny. I'm looking out. Do you want it this way, LeBron? Do you want it this way, Rich Paul? Do you want it this way? He can't go into the G League and average 20, 25, and stay there until he's ready? Because he's LeBron's son. You know how they're going to judge him.
So those are the comments. I didn't hear anything crazy. But sensitive LeBron James confronts Stephen A. Smith last night. And then Stephen A. Smith, who, by the way, I did talk to this morning. I haven't talked to Stephen A. Smith in years. So he came to Temple University. He used to cover Temple football and basketball. But he came to Temple University when I was a student. He did speak. And it was like a very good, fun speech that we got to hear. And it was pretty cool for a young broadcaster at the time like I was, at that time in my life. And I interviewed Stephen A. Smith. He gave me 15 minutes on my radio show in college. Never forget it. And throughout the years, here and there, we would exchange some text messages. There was one moment when I was working for 94 WIP. And on 94 WIP, there was a moment where I forget what it was, but it looked like Stephen A. Smith ran on the court to break up a fight that was occurring. I forget who the fight was between, but it was during a Sixers game. It was a doppelganger of Stephen A. Smith. It was not Stephen A. Smith. It was a security guard at the Wells Fargo Center. So I'm doing a show on 94 WIP, and everyone thinks it's Stephen A. Smith. So I texted Stephen A. and I go, was that you at the Sixers game breaking up the fight? Because I did see, he goes, I was there, but I didn't break up any fight. I wasn't on the court. He gave me the hell no right away. I'll never forget the text. So I said, just so you know, he didn't know that this was out there. I go, people think this is you. And he's like, well, the guy does look like me. So I then went on the air and had that. But I don't think I've talked to Stephen A. since then. And I ended up shooting Stephen A. Smith the text today to try to, poke around, do my due diligence as a sports broadcaster, congratulate him on the $100 million contract. If you want to give me like $500,000, I'll take it, Stephen A. But, I just wanted to see if he'd take any of the bait of the conversation with LeBron James. So, we had a little back and forth conversation. Nothing really came out of it, but, we had a little conversation. So I was waiting for First Take this morning, and I saw a tweet from Stephen A. about his kerfuffle last night with LeBron James. And he said, I didn't want to have to address this. I wouldn't have either had it not gone viral. Now I have no choice. First take first at 10 a.m. Eastern. Then the Stephen A. Smith Show on YouTube. Some things just have to be said. So, I searched GIFs of Stephen A. And I was looking for one. There's an iconic one of him sipping on some green drink, basically looking like, yeah, I know something's about to go down, like this is bullcrap. The idea of Stephen A. Smith saying, I didn't want to have to address this, as the kids would say, I call cap. Come on, Stephen A. Of course you wanted to address this. So here is the aforementioned Stephen A. Smith reacting to his confrontation with LeBron James. This was courtesy of the fine folks at the ESPN. This was from earlier this AM on First Take.
That was LeBron James coming up to me, unexpectedly, I might add, to confront me about making sure that I mind what I say about his son. That wasn't a basketball player confronting me. That was a parent. That was a father. I can't sit here and be angry by LeBron James in any way in that regard. For the record, his agent and friend, Rich Paul, has my number. Maverick Carter, who works under him, has my number. LeBron James knows how to get in contact with me if he wanted to. He never called, because had he called and wanted to talk to me, I would have accepted that call. But that is not what he elected to do. Instead, he elected to confront me while I was sitting courtside, and he walked right up to me, and he said what he had to say. Apparently, he feels like I was slighting his son.
I think this is very simple. LeBron James, the great LeBron James, the second greatest NBA player of all time, is coming off as if he is a helicopter parent. That's what he is, a sensitive helicopter parent. I understand wanting the best for your son. I understand getting sensitive to criticism about your son. But your son isn't a kid anymore. Your son, even though he's only 20, is a professional athlete. And all Stephen A. Smith basically said was, it was a nice moment at the beginning of the season. He doesn't think he should be on the NBA roster. He never said he will never be a full-time pro player. He was actually complimentary, but he just doesn't think he's ready. And that's the thing that set LeBron James off. That's how petty and sensitive LeBron James has become. This is the weird energy that LeBron was alluding to just a week ago. This is a bunch of nonsense. I'm sorry. If you have a brain, it is obvious that Stephen A. Smith did nothing wrong and LeBron James is a helicopter parent right now. And if I'm Bronny, and right, I have a dad in the sports world, right? A dad that worked in sports media, so I could relate to this. Not that my dad was LeBron James. He was just a radio producer, for crying out loud, and a salesman. But when you're a kid and you're working in the same line of work as your father, there's going to be some ridiculous things that are said, and there's going to be some things that are said that are fair. It's up to the person, the son here, to prove that they belong, prove that they could hang. And I could just tell you from personal experience, if my dad confronted someone that said something about me, I would be livid. And that's the part that I think people should realize here. LeBron's entitled to act how LeBron wants to act. But there is no way, and I would be very hard to believe this, hard-pressed to believe this, that Bronny is comfortable with what went on. And I bet you if you shot Bronny up with True Serum, he probably would say, you know what, Dad? Let me do me. I don't like how you handled that. And you let Bronny be Bronny. Because if this is the little criticism that LeBron James or Bronny can't take, then Bronny's not going to make it. And I know there's a lot to question about Bronny, and that's all fair to question. That is life as a professional athlete. And LeBron could go about it how LeBron James could go about it, but he's easily, and I mean easily, in the wrong here. What did Stephen A. Smith do that's so offensive? What did Stephen A. Smith say that's so crazy? Unless if I missed something, well, we played on First Take and the Stephen A. Smith Show. He didn't go out of his way. He didn't drag Bronny James. He didn't do anything that crossed the line. He just doesn't think he's ready. He doesn't think he's an NBA player right now. And LeBron is going to be a big baby here. And he could have reached out to Stephen A., talked in public, but LeBron wanted to make this a spectacle. He did. And LeBron only wants it to be his way. And if you criticize LeBron, if you say anything negative about LeBron, LeBron acts like he did to Stephen A. Smith. So I don't see what Stephen A. Smith did whatsoever that was wrong. Once again, if there's something else out there, let me know. Hit me up. Social media, Twitter, Instagram, @Zach Gelb. I got phone lines, 855-212-4227. You let me know. But I don't see how anyone watches what happened in the last 24 hours with the context we provided and say, hey, you know what? LeBron just protecting his kid, his son. His son's now 20 years old and he's a professional athlete. Welcome to the real world. Welcome to the grown-up world where there's going to be criticism. Some things will be authentic. Some things will be real. Some things will be valid. And some things will be unfair. But I don't think Stephen A. Smith said anything unfair and out of line when it comes to the son of LeBron James and Bronny James. It is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Whose side are you on? Stephen A. Smith or LeBron James? 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. We go from LeBron being upset to Draymond Green acting like a jackass. And that's the only way I could say it. And remember, I'm the same person. I put my foot in my mouth that just a day ago said, I'm starting to like Draymond. You know, Draymond, I'm starting to enjoy him. And the moment I said that, I now know what it's like to be Ryan Hot Take Hickey. I had a little hickey hex here because Draymond spat in my face and basically made me regret those comments. We tear into the clown comments by Draymond Green and the insensitive comments by Draymond Green when the Zach Gelb Show returns in 5 minutes.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Zach Gelb Show.
You know, I should have gave the YouTube chat more credit. It is the Zach Gelb Show, the Infinity Sports Network. And I knew eventually I would have to address my appearance today on the show. Because usually when I do this show, it's in a collared shirt or a t-shirt, right? We're just dudes being dudes doing this show. Little sweatpants, shorts, stuff like that. Today I'm in a sports coat and a button down, and I have nice brown shoes on and a pair of slacks. So I'm dressed up today. And I have to admit two things. Number one, I am interviewing for the head men's basketball coaching position at Rowan. I'm trying to be the next Doug Gottlieb to do afternoon drive national radio and also be a college basketball coach. So I had my interview today. I don't even know if Rowan has a men's basketball team. I don't know if Rowan's even a university. I think Stu went there. And I'm interviewing for the position. And also, Stephen A. Smith is rumored to be in the mix, in the hunt, to be the next president of the United States. I am not declaring my intentions to run for president, but there's a big opening I hear around here on the Infinity Sports Network. You have Maggie and Perloff on from 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern. You then have Bill Reiter, Reiter than you, from 10 to noon. LeBron doesn't like Stephen A. LeBron also doesn't like Bill Reiter, I hear. Then you have Rich Eisen on from 12 to 3. And you have your boy Zach Gelb from 3 to 6 on the East Coast. Then the great JR Sport Brief Extravaganza from 6 to 10. And then you have Bart Winkler from 10 to 2. Amy Lawrence, we'd all know by now, has left the company. So there's an opening from 2 to 6. And I used to do late night radio here, weekends, Friday into Saturday, Saturday into Sunday, from 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern time. And there's a lot of people that have put their name in the mix. We won't get into everyone and speculate and rank, even though the YouTube chat would love that. And I'm declaring my intentions to apply an interview for the overnight job here. And don't worry, I'm still going to do 3 to 6. But maybe I'll do a little Zach After Dark, a little late night, little rendezvous on the Infinity Sports Network. How about that, Samter? You ready to work overnights again? You coming with me, buddy? You're producing.
I mean, I can handle.
We're working overtime.
I can handle the hours. I feel like Zach After Dark would be a little bit more raunchy, a little bit dirtier.
Late night zooming with Zach on the Infinity Sports Network.
Yeah, with the whisper, that just sounds bad on so many levels.
You want late night sports talk with a little extra fix? It's the Zach Gelb Show, zooming with Zach on the Infinity Sports Network.
Drivers across the country are pulling over because they cannot handle.
Truck drivers are getting aroused right now when they just hear what I just said. Want some hard-hitting sports talk? Don't worry. This host has balls. It's the Zach Gelb Show, zooming with Zach late night on the Infinity Sports Network. Zoom, zoom.
I have so many drops.
I didn't even rehearse any of this. I just is right off top of the cabeza.
Oh, my goodness. The whisper is what gets me. It's the whisper. I'm gonna be hearing that in my nightmares for the next month.
Ryan Hickey has hot takes. The Good Shepherd has big opinions. Pat Boyle has strapping takes. But there's only one man who delivers the smooth sports talk. It's Late Night with Zach Gelb on the Infinity Sex Network.
Hot takes, big opinions, and strapping looks. Hot, big, and strapping? What are we doing?
Yeah, I think I'm putting my name in the mix. I want to interview.
I think we have to wipe our browser history after that one.
Yeah. Zach had Paige Spiranek on the Infinity Sports Network. Which lovely-looking lady will he interview next? It's Late Night Sports Talk with Zach Gelb on the Infinity Sports Network.
If you get Paige to co-host, I will be there with bells on.
Also, all the engineers that we didn't even know existed with us at the Super Bowl. That was the best part.
Their hours.
I look behind myself after the Paige Spiranek interview, and I go, who are the 8 people standing behind us that all work for our company? Never seen them before. And they were all standing out there with their tongues hanging out of their mouths. They're like, can't believe what I'm seeing.
She really was one of the 5
I know my
or
backside looked good in that, right?
Well,
I think that's what they were looking at.
Your backside is exactly what we were seeing.
Samter and Stu have sexy takes. It's the After Hours show. We're giving producers the platform to talk on the Zach Gelb Show, Late Night Sports Network.
It gives the name Moist Mike a different meaning now.
It's Sexy Stu and Moist Mike with a big amount of Zach Gelb on the Infinity Sports Network. Yes, I'm interviewing for the late night position.
Does anyone have the number for HR?
You gonna do me like that?
No, I like it.
Imagine if I went all Stephen A. Like, this is buttoned up, Zach Gelb from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern time, and then late night I go all Pharrell. What's up, you mother bleepers? You know you want this sports talk? You know, LeBron James, what a wacky take. You look around and you sit here on the Infinity Sports Network. Shake it up with Zachy Gelb. That'd be awesome. You know what? They should just have me do 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern time for 2 weeks and just rotate through every single person that's worked here and just interview them. That's what we should do for 2 weeks. I'd be down. If they want to just, fatten up the wall a little bit too. Gotta show me the money. Anyway, though, the real reason why I am wearing a sports coat is if you could believe this is tough to believe. I had to speak today at a conference, the Intercollegiate Broadcasting System, which is a big conference. I think they've been around for like 95 years. And they asked me to do the sports part of the conference from 9:30 to 10:30. Let me tell you, what an unbelievable event that was. I couldn't imagine Like, I had no clue what to expect. Some student told me he took a 17-hour train ride. 17 hours. You have people coming from Indiana, California. I couldn't believe that this many people, and it's a big conference. Al Roker was the keynote speaker. So I was honored to speak. And I talked for an hour, did like a Q&A too. And then I stayed for an extra hour. And there was like more kids that wanted to just keep on talking. I could only take so many questions. So it was pretty cool. So that's why I am wearing the sports coat. No, I'm not interviewing for a Division I or Division II men's basketball job. I don't think I'm interviewing for overnights here, but after the ideas that I just pitched in my cabeza that did speak to you for the last 5 minutes, I could be interested. Well, that's gonna ruffle some feathers around here. That's gonna make some people feel uncomfortable around here. But yeah, I was just speaking at a conference today, and I said I had to look presentable. I didn't want to just wear like a collared shirt or a button down. I'm like, all right, you got to wear a sports coat.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you think I'm looking good?
That sports coat?
I'm looking dapper, as the kids say.
That works for you, buddy. It works for you.
Nico, how old are you again?
25.
So you're 25. I'm only 30. Samter just turned. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. 45? 44.
That is correct.
Oh, you did turn 45.
45.
So wait, why didn't you have a big celebration? That's a big birthday. That's a milestone birthday. It's not 50, but it's 45.
In the middle of the decade doesn't mean much for me. 50, I'll do something big.
Okay. So hopefully as long as you're still around in a few
If
years,
I'm
we'll
still
throw a big
around.
party. You never know. It's, you're looking old the last few days.
I mean, I got the beard is going up, but I mean,
Don't worry, Samter will
I can
do
hopefully make it 5 more years.
You will do your summer shave, and then Samter will look like he's back to being 23. What's the phrase, though, that people say now if you're looking pretty good? Like, demore? What is that?
I actually don't know what
You
you're
have no
talking about.
clue, and you're the
Yeah.
youngest one on the show.
I guess I'm not as hip as I thought I was.
Yeah, we learned a lot about Nico. We're going to. I'm not asking you like a Michigan football question. Boom, Nico would have the answer. I think it's like pretty demure. I believe it is. I believe that's what the kids say.
It's demore and something else, though.
Yeah, it's like some TikTok thing. I heard Maggie trying to act like she was 13 one day, and she said it, and she said it correctly because Maggie gets those social media trends. I'm just the big dummy that fooled some person to speak at the Intercollegiate Broadcasting System conference and had kids thinking like I was some big deal or something like that. So, can you find out what the exactly how to say it? Yeah, I think it's like a TikTok or something like that.
It is. It's demore, very demore, but I feel like I've seen it.
Very demure.
Yeah, very demore, but I feel like it's demore and something, but I'm seeing just demore.
Okay, that works. I think for most of our listening audience and our demographic, they're good on that front.
God, I'm an almost 50-year-old guy trying to explain TikTok trends to the public. Not doing a
dancing,
very good
Santa.
job.
You'd be a good TikToker. You'd be good with the dances.
I am obsessed with TikTok. I spend like 80% of my day on TikTok.
I can't wait till your little girl gets to like 7 or 8 years old and she starts asking you to do the TikTok dances and we start seeing Samter, just girl dadding out in the background. Just doing all the TikTok. You could see that, right, Nico? Samter do the TikTok dances?
Oh, yeah, I could totally see it.
It's like, I kid you not, being in New Orleans with Mike and just hearing the FaceTimes with him and his beautiful baby girl and wife, it's like a totally different person. Samter's here. He's so serious, right? He's so intense. He's sitting here like, we got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do that. We got to get this person on the show. And then it's like, hey, little baby girl. Like, it does like the Mickey Mouse voice.
If only she liked me as much as she liked you.
That is true. I think I am her favorite. I had 2 FaceTime calls and she's like, Uncle Zach, Uncle Zach.
And then every time I went back to my face, she started crying. Zach, Zach, Zach.
Well,
All right,
it wasn't good. Anyway, let's get to Draymond Green. He called out Karl Anthony Towns for missing the Knicks-Warriors game that I was out on Tuesday night. This is courtesy of the Draymond Green Show.
That was a big game for us, and obviously they ain't had Cat. Some would say he didn't play because Jimmy was in the building. I don't know.
It's like that?
But yeah, they said Cat ain't play because Jimmy came into town, and him and Jimmy had the infamous practice in Minnesota. Maybe that's the thing. I don't know.
That's a conspiracy theory says he was hurt.
I don't know what was hurt. I didn't look that deep into it to figure out like what his injury was or nothing like that.
And it turned out the reason why Karl Anthony Towns didn't play in that game is because he had a close family friend pass away from breast cancer. So think about that reckless speculation by Draymond Green. So any normal human being would then realize that they were in the wrong, probably offer their thoughts and prayers to Karl-Anthony Towns' family and say, hey, I got that one wrong. That's on me. Terrible job. Well, this was Draymond Green when he was asked about the whole situation, and this is how Draymond responded to it the other night.
You seen your reaction today to your comments about Cat?
No.
And are you aware of what the circumstances were?
No. What's the circumstance?
Apparently, he said he was at a funeral for a family friend.
Oh, man, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. But my comments that I made was what I heard was this. And that's what I heard. So I do, send my well wishes to him and his family. But the Draymond Green show with Baron Davis must go on.
Let me be abundantly clear. I was someone that just the other day on this radio platform and on our radio network said, I'm starting to change my tune about Draymond and I'm enjoying Draymond. When I saw Draymond and the way that he interacted with fans up close and personal with the Knicks-Warriors game the other night, and I also liked his comments during All-Star Weekend when he was basically just crapping on the NBA and the horrible All-Star Game product. Draymond Green is a heartless a-hole. That's what he is. What he just did is disgusting. You will get information wrong. You will have bad takes when you do this job. But there's difference in saying, hey, I think this team's going to win, or I think this player's going to go with this draft pick, and you get that wrong. When you're talking about Karl-Anthony Towns missing a game, and you hear it's about the incident going back to Minnesota, and you claim that Karl-Anthony Towns is ducking Jimmy Butler, you better be right on that. And then it comes out, unfortunately, and everyone kind of knew that something happened with Karl-Anthony Towns' family, that a family friend passed away because of breast cancer. And how about the lying POS move that Draymond Green in those quotes issued? Where he sits there and he pretends like this is the first time he's hearing that. And he's like, oh, that's unfortunate to hear. But I heard what I heard. And you didn't walk it back. You didn't do what any normal human being would do and apologize. Instead, you acted like a damn fool. And you're a clown. That's what you are. And you have no sympathy. And you don't have a heart. Because all you should have done, Draymond, when you heard that, instead of plug your show with Baron Davis, is say, guys, I got that one wrong. My thoughts and prayers go out to Karl-Anthony Towns and his family. And I got that wrong. It will never happen again. Terrible job by me. Instead, you had to push this narrative about Jimmy Butler and Cat. You had to show zero remorse and then plug your stupid show. Screw Draymond Green. F him. I'm sorry. That really makes me annoyed. I'm just someone the other day that was defending him and the other day saying, oh, I'm starting to like him. Bleep him. He's a clown. He is an absolute clown. Have a heart. You don't need to do everything for clicks. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And you know what? Karl-Anthony Towns wouldn't do this, but maybe a Knicks teammate should do this. Next time the Knicks play the Warriors, whenever they meet up next, I hope someone punches Draymond Green. Disgusting. Let's get the latest update in here, Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And we start with a riddle sponsored by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. An easy riddle. Learn more at progressive.com. The Cavaliers have had a remarkable improvement this year and currently lead the NBA with 52 wins, and they have won 12 straight. They'll try to extend the streak in Charlotte tonight. As good as they've been, there remains an insecurity about this team, and Max Strus said their real test awaits.
It is crazy what we're doing and to be a part of it, and it's a special year. So you want to try to take it all in, but at the same time, remember that, once 82 games is over, that's the real season starts.
Strus has been through the playoff wars with the Heat in the past. The Thunder go for their 52nd win tonight at home against the Blazers. They have won 5 in a row. Memphis is 25-5 and goes for another win tonight against South Florida. The win, should they get it, would give them the AAC regular season title outright. 18th-ranked Purdue is on the road at Illinois. The NHL trade deadline has passed, and for the second time this year, Mikko Rantanen was involved in a blockbuster going to the Dallas Stars, who signed him to an 8-year, $96 million extension. The Hurricanes get Logan Stankoven, 2 first-rounders and 2 third-rounders, and the Bruins have sent their captain, according to reports, Brad Marchand, going to the defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers. I'm Rich Jacob.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show.
And it's time to ask the pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question. Brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. So if you want to ask the man, it's a great song, by the way. You could simply tweet your question at INF Sports Center at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. All righty. Let me get to Brandon Ayuk. So, Brandon Ayuk, he was in the news a lot last offseason. We spent a lot of last offseason talking about Brandon Ayuk because of the fact that Brandon Ayuk wanted out of San Francisco, a.k.a. he wanted a new contract. And there were teams that were interested, right? New England was speculated, Cleveland was speculated, and Pittsburgh was speculated. And the Steelers allowed him to go talk to those other teams. And it depends on what those other teams are willing to offer in terms of contract. If Ayuk said, okay, I like what they're offering me, then a deal would have to be figured out between the 49ers and whatever team that was. Now, Ayuk got a large offer from the Patriots, but he didn't want to go to the Patriots. Okay. I don't think the Cleveland Browns were as interested as what we were led on to believe, if I remember right. And the Steelers, I don't know if they didn't want to give him the contract or if they didn't want to give up the draft capital that was required for Brandon Ayuk. So Brandon Ayuk gets injured last year, misses the majority of the season, and Brandon Ayuk has a new contract. But the Niners, it's fascinating. When you let something like that play out publicly, there has to be some questions about Brandon Ayuk, right? Because Brandon Ayuk's one of those guys, he has the numbers, right, the year before when he was playing of a number one wide receiver. But there was a question of, is he just a good wide receiver or can he be a top-of-the-line wide receiver financially and also have that production consistently on the field? So whatever the answer really was, the Niners ultimately paid him, and then the San Francisco 49ers elected, right, to make that commitment to Brandon Ayuk. But with that being said, there was a long negotiation. So when there's a long negotiation, there's got to be some doubt in there. And then Ayuk barely plays this year because of the injury. And even remember, I want to say, was it the first game of the season against the Jets where he had a drop? And I think it was Belichick. I remember Belichick criticized him. I don't remember his first game of the season. But Belichick criticized Brandon Ayuk and was like, on the Manning cast, yeah, so it had to be the Jet game because that was Monday night game. He goes, maybe a little less time about the contract and all that stuff, and you wouldn't have dropped that ball, something like that. So now I wonder with John Lynch and also with Kyle Shanahan, since it was really bizarre. Like, remember when Ayuk basically got kicked out of the practice and then they had to do the whole dap up on the field and all that stuff? It was just really weird. So whatever happened, there was some hesitation, and then Ayuk got the deal. But then he missed this entire season, the majority of the season because of the injury. So with all that being said, Debo just got traded. When Debo got traded, and I told you a year ago, they would sign Ayuk, and then they would trade Debo a year from now, and they just traded Debo. But with Brandon Ayuk, now there's been some reports surfacing that he's available. So I could see why the Niners want to get rid of him. But then what's your plan after that? Like, is Ricky Parasol ready to be a number one wide receiver? And what else are you going to do at the receiving position when you just got rid of Deebo Samuel? So I think the Niners have had some remorse on this contract. And as last year it was, oh, is he worth it? This year it's once again, last year we could have got more in return for him because I think coming off the injury and also having this contract, I don't believe that if Brandon Ayuk is available for a trade that you're going to get as rich of a return, injury, and now the contract as you would have last year in a trade. So I think this is the Niners basically saying, we're not going to get ripped off here, but if you want him, you could really go get him, and it's probably going to be a cheaper price in terms of the compensation via draft picks because you have to take on all that money that we owe Brandon Ayuk. Now, if Brandon Ayuk gets traded, it really puts even more pressure on Brock Purdy. And I talked about this the other day, that Brock Purdy is someone that he's going to be under the most scrutiny this year. Because if he gets paid, Brock Purdy is going to have to deliver on that contract. Because I believe it's going to be north of $50 million if he does get paid this offseason. If he doesn't get paid, it's the ultimate prove-it season for Brock Purdy. And that was me factoring in that Run CMC is going to be there healthy. Brandon Ayuk's going to be there healthy. Mr. Kittle's going to be there healthy as well. Now, we don't even know if Ayuk's going to be there. So if Ayuk isn't there, it puts even more pressure, contract or not, on Brock Purdy to succeed. And I just wonder, because for DK Metcalf, there was that one report by Diana Rossini that the Seahawks wanted a first and a third. Yeah, I want to go on a date with Beyonce, right? And I think a first and a third for DK is a little bit more realistic than my chances with Beyonce, but you get the point. It's the good joke.
Not when you dress like that.
And that is true. You know what? You are right. Beyonce, I'm available. What you doing tonight, Beyonce? Want to get rid of Jay-Z? I like Jay-Z. I wouldn't do that to Jay-Z. Oh, yes, I would. But anyway, I wonder who would go for more in a trade now. DK Metcalf, 27, 1 year left on his deal. You have to pay him. Or Brandon Ayuk coming off the injury, and he has a contract through 2028. I would say at this stage, DK, I don't know if you agree with this, Samter, in a trade would go for more because you haven't made the financial commitment yet. Where for Brandon Ayuk, he's coming off the injury and there's already that financial commitment there, so there's no room to negotiate it. Unless if he wants to restructure it, I don't think that's going to happen. So I think with the injury and the contract already being there and the Niners making him available, I do believe that DK Metcalf would be more in return for a trade value than Brandon Ayuk. So it's fascinating if you're a team like the Patriots who were interested in Ayuk last year and now are interested in DK Metcalf, who they would prefer to go get.
And plus, I mean, with all those things that you just said, I think DK is just a better receiver to begin with.
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Who's the better wide receiver? I think Ayuk is the better route runner, is the better traditional wide receiver, but who's more like overpowering and who's more unique? Yeah, it is DK Metcalf. Both, though, wherever they'd be going to, without a doubt, be the number one wide receiver. Like DK, right? You got Jackson Smith and Jigba. You had Tyler Lockett. For Brandon Ayuk, he had Deebo Samuel with them, and you also had Run CMC coming out of the backfield. Without, you go to the Patriots, you're the number 1, 2, and 3 wide receiver for crying out loud there with how little my team has at the wide receiver position. I would probably prefer... man, that's a great question. I would say I would agree with you, Samter. I won't be like some other shows and just agree to or just disagree to disagree. I would say I'd rather have DK Metcalf. But for Ayuk, it's like, if you're telling me I have to give up a 2 for DK and then maybe only a 4 for Ayuk, I don't know if it's going to be that crazy. Maybe you go get Ayuk. But I would probably give the slight preference on who's the better player to DK Metcalf. I think he has the higher ceiling is the way to answer that. The Browns don't get it. We'll talk about the Cleveland Browns next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
infinity, and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
So I was reading a report today from Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network. I don't think he got into any fights at the Combine. It's still one of my favorite stories, folks. Jordan Schultz and Ian Rappaport in a media beef at Starbucks. I don't think that will ever get old. I don't care what scoop Ian Rappaport has or what scoop Jordan Schultz has, and they got a lot of scoops, right? It's like Ben & Jerry's or Baskin Robbins, whatever your ice cream place is. Scoop, 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 scoop with all of them. They just have scoops left and right. I don't care what either will accomplish for the rest of their career. And Ian Rappaport is a creme de la creme reporter. Jordan Schultz is obviously rising up the rankings. Imagine if we did reporter power rankings. Instead of like top 10 quarterbacks and top 10 head coaches, top 10 reporters, and how sensitive people would get about that. That would be good.
I mean, take 5 Wednesday next week.
Ooh. Top 5 NFL reporters, top 5 favorite talk show hosts at the network. We could do a lot there. Top 5 favorite ice cream, top 5 favorite media requests.
Can I guess your favorite broadcaster here at the network?
Yeah, I think it's very obvious.
Aside from yourself, of course.
No, I wouldn't put myself. I'm comfortable with myself. Like I love myself, but I wouldn't say I'm my favorite host at the network. If I'm doing top 5 rankings at the network on who my 5 favorite hosts were, I don't think I'd put myself in there. Any idea?
I'm just glad that you didn't say that you love yourself in the
Zach love myself
in the Zach After Dark voice. I'm glad it was not that.
He loves you, and he loves himself. Show him some love at 855-212-4227. Ring him up. Ring, ring on the sexy hotline. Late nights with Zach Gelb on the Infinity Sports Network.
We'd have to change our call number to a 900 number.
Yeah, so if people have just got in their car and they're like, what the heck is Gelb on today? I'm wearing a sports coat today. I had to speak at a very fancy schmancy collegiate broadcasting conference. And could you imagine? You're one of those kids at that conference and they hear me speak today. And like I'll grade myself. I think it was like a 9.3 on the speaker scale. I was very good. I had the room going, I had the room laughing, a lot of questions, stayed afterwards, was recommending places. Some kid from Indiana is like, where do I get a slice of pizza here? I'm like, go to Industry in Soho. And I'm like, what else I got? You got to go to Cat's Deli. Like I was not only giving out sports information and like career information, I was just giving out life information and food information as well. But people in the YouTube chat were like, yo, Zach's wearing a sports coat today. Oh, is he on a date again? You know, was he going for a job interview? Was he at a funeral? Like, what was he doing? Was he trying to be the next Doug Gottlieb? And was he interviewing for a coaching position while remaining to be the talk show host on an afternoon little network? No, I was just at a conference. But then I made the joke that I was putting my name in the ringer for a late night sports talk show since we do have an opening from 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern time. You know, NBA players, they need like load management days. I would not need a load management day. I would go 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, go back, have a little dinner, catch a few Z's, sleep. And then it's the late night edition of the Zach Gelb Show featuring Moist Mike and Sexy Stu. Nico, you'd be a tough sell on that show.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the name. Like, what are we doing? Nico, Scarlatos. It's tough to make a sexy name.
Nico.
No. Oh my God.
Naughty Nico.
All right, we got it.
There it is.
You could be a part of the crew. Now we got to get something for Ack. Ack could be the toughest one. Richard Ackerman.
I had one, but I can't say it on the air.
Get rough with Richard Ackerman. He's going to tease what's coming up next, but here's the latest sports flash. Let's get rough with Rich Ackerman.
I'm telling you, if I'm David Mayernick or Ryan Hurley listening to this show today, I'm like, we're moving Zach to overnights to do this late night career. Get a little bit raunchy around here. Do you know what? Don't say it. But do you know what Samter's thinking, Nico?
He just told me off the air what it was.
Because I am lost. Absolutely lost. Usually if Samter's alluding to something and he doesn't want to say it on the air. All right, folks, it's not getting on the air. Okay. Usually I could put 2 and 2 together. This one, I am lost. Absolutely lost, folks. I don't need a hint. If it's offensive, I don't want to hear it.
I'm not going to.
Or if it could get us canceled. Well, I don't want to be like Draymond Green where I say something stupid. I would at least apologize for it later. Draymond didn't apologize for it.
Draymond does not apologize for anything. He
What
punched Nurkic
Nurkic
in the face and called him soft afterwards.
How about the whole Jordan Poole stuff?
Everything.
This guy literally punched his teammate in the face and is making it out as if he was the victim. What a clown.
Yeah, I was not. I'm with you on a lot of things. I was not with you when you decided to turn around last week on being a Draymond lover, or 2 weeks ago.
Last week. It was the other day.
No, it was right after the All-Star break.
I know, but then I said the other day I'm now a Draymond Green guy.
Yeah. But no, we're all back.
You know what that was? That was the Simpsons gif where the old man walks into the bar, looks around, puts the hat on, picks the hat up, and walks right out. That was me.
So wait, can I guess your favorite host here at the network?
Oh, yes, sure. Go ahead.
So my guess...
I think it's fairly easy.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's got to be Shep.
Nothing against Shep, but no.
Okay.
Not my favorite host of the network.
Is it Hickey?
It is not Hickey. Love Hickey, but nope, not my favorite host of the network.
Then it has to be Mr. Bart Winkler.
That would have been my guess if I had one.
I do like Bart with Carlos. Like, the duo, I think, is a very good duo. I need to come clean here, though.
Uh-oh.
I have to say Perloff. You want to know why? Because I went on that date and didn't go to the Ranger game with him. And he still has those seats. So this is a suck-up spot. So I get the invite again, and then I'm sitting on the glass, banging on the glass. Manny Rodriguez. Did you see some of the videos of Manny? Nico, did you see the Manny videos?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when he's banging on the glass. We could incorporate that into our late night sports sex talk show.
He's got big takes, and he's banging on the glass. We're going to talk some pucks, and maybe later. No, I can't do that.
He spent all night banging on the glass.
Stop. When Pharrell was here, he's my favorite host of the network, easily. Now, because I want those tickets again, it's Perloff. Easy peasy.
Who's your all-time favorite host on the network?
Pharrell.
Interesting.
Pharrell. Well, the first day I got here, he went on the air for 5 minutes, and he's like, I just met a young broadcaster. He's following me. He's going to be a mega star, huge star, unbelievable. He's going to shake it up. He gave me a great plug. Gave me the greatest promotion I ever got. 5 minutes. Just praise. Anyway. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm looking at the stream on the dual shot today. At one moment of the stream, it is zoomed in on my cabeza. There's a lot of Gelb right there. And there was a lot of Samter too. Did you notice that, Nico?
I did. I mentioned it to Samter, but we agreed that we thought it was okay, so...
Samter, you just got thrown under the bus by Nico. No. You've been here since, the inception of the network? This guy comes in, barely here, and he just tossed you under the bus?
Well, no, wait a second. I didn't want to get a bad rep myself here. So...
This sounds like every quarterback who decides to point the finger and not the thumb.
Wide receiver.
Man. Right? This is the equivalent of A.J. Brown getting up there and being like, man, Jalen Hurts just does not throw me the ball.
I'm sorry, though. Neither of you read books. At least A.J. Brown is actually reading the books. I've never seen either of you read a book.
I don't read books. I listen to books. I listen to probably 3 books a month.
I did read. Well, I didn't read. That's a lie. I did listen to Stephen A. Smith's book. It was great.
Dude, audiobooks are great, especially on the subway or on my bike or whatever. I love audiobooks.
Do you think, by the way, LeBron listened to Stephen A. Smith's book? It was a great listen. Do you think he listened to it?
No, but hopefully he listened to Stephen A. today.
Oh, definitely. Come on. He was so sensitive over Stephen A. just basically saying Bronny isn't ready. Crazy. Like, for him to freak out like that. I will say, though, my pal David Shepard, I know he was in the YouTube chat. Make sure you listen to Shep. Tonight, 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern as well. I should plug that better. Saturday morning, 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern. Sunday mornings, 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern. The Good Shepherd Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. He reached out to the Lakers to interview LeBron. And I was like a little bit questioning it, to say the least. I think Shep should be consistent here and now reach out to the Lakers to see if LeBron will comment on the Stephen A. Smith entire situation. Like, with Windhorse getting up there in age, maybe Shep becomes the new Windhorse, where he's just covering LeBron 24/7. I think it could work. Shep replaces Windhorse. You got a chuckle out of that, Samter?
Yeah, I don't know if that's happening.
Oh, okay. I think so. I think it'd be great. Shep's a very knowledgeable person when it comes to basketball. Have him be the new LeBron James reporter. Except I actually will say this. Shep would criticize LeBron more than Windhorse ever has. I want to know what the root is. You know, do me a favor. Can you call up Shep? I actually want to put Shep on in 5 minutes. I just want to understand where the root of Shep's hatred is. Because I could be so far off on this, but it's my understanding that Shep doesn't like LeBron. And if I'm wrong on that, I don't want to be like Draymond Green and just spreading fake news. So I'm curious about the whole thing. So, yeah, call up Shep. Let's get Shep on. I have a few NBA questions as well. Let's do that coming up in 10 minutes. Anyway, Myles Garrett. Let's get to this. Just changing. Just absolutely stopping on a dime and going to a different topic. Tom Pelissero had a report today from the NFL Network that Brown star Myles Garrett requested a meeting with the owner of the Browns and Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy Haslam denied to speak to Myles Garrett. So think about this. You have Myles Garrett who wants out of Cleveland. The Browns are insistent that they're not trading Myles Garrett. So don't you eventually have to have a conversation? And I don't think just Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski could have this conversation. So, with that being said, if Myles Garrett, if your goal is to have him rescind the trade request, you would think you would at least bare minimum meet with Myles Garrett and at least air it all out. And if you still walk away from that meeting and say, hey, Myles, we're still not trading you, that's fine, but you at least got to have a conversation. You're the owner of the Cleveland Browns, Jimmy Haslam. Have the conversation. You have to have I thought this was fake news, a parody account, NBA Central, whatever it's called. I thought this was for the NFL. Myles Garrett wanted to meet with the owner of the Browns and Jimmy Haslam. Myles Garrett wants out. The Browns don't want to trade him. So, yeah, that's a great idea. You want to keep a player wants out. Let's not even meet with him and have a conversation man-to-man, face-to-face. The Browns will eventually trade Myles Garrett. I think Myles Garrett, and it's been reported, will be willing to sit out games. I think this is going to get very ugly. But ultimately, the Browns should trade him. Your franchise right now is directionless. They have no direction. So trade him and get stuff back. And Myles Garrett has done almost everything for your franchise. The only dumb thing he did was when he swung the helmet, up against the Steelers. And that was a terrible moment. But he's a top, either the best or second best defensive player in the league. He wants to go to a winner. I think everyone understands Myles Garrett's situation here. But the Browns trying to strong arm him, they have every right. They don't have to trade him. But I think you at least owe him a conversation. It would be like, not that I'm comparing myself to Myles Garrett. Let me be abundantly clear. But it'd be like, hey, I want out of my contract at the network. I want to go somewhere else. I'm interested in going to a different network. And our bosses, right, Chris Oliveira, Ryan Hurley, and Dave Mayernick go, tough luck, Zach, it ain't happening. All right, let's have a meeting. We're not talking to you. Huh? Like, there's an issue. See if you can resolve the issue. And if not, then you work to where to go from there. But why wouldn't Jimmy Haslam take this interview? It's weak and it's stupid. And, not to sound, I think it was either Chase Claypool or Juju Smith-Schuster. This is why the Browns is the Browns. It's the situation here. All righty, we will take a timeout. Did you reach out to Shep? Shep is coming on. Look at this. Some people said this would never happen again. Shep is coming on the show next. You don't want to miss it. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Is he coming on via Zoom? Oh, my goodness gracious. Now, Shep's coming on via Zoom next. If our YouTube stream crashes here, then Cap is a twisted individual. Because I think Cap could pull some strings here and do some funky business with the stream. We're talking with David Shepard next right here on the Zach Gelb Show. Shep looks like he's frozen, by the way. Oh, there he's moving. Shep's looking good, man. I like that. What is that, quarter zip? Shep's looking good. Hair's done. Looking pretty good. Coming on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Listening to the Zach Gelb Show.
I was waiting for it to say, "You're listening to the Good Shepherd on the Infinity Sports Network."
But it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. And we have David Shepard via Zoom. Let's see if we could hear and see Shep, because I know that's been an issue anytime Shep tries to stream lately. But I've been talking to Cap, and I've been doing my best to ensure that Shep would be able to stream. I want to see Shep stream again, because I just have an image whenever that song that we just played comes on, that Shep is like dancing around the studio, and then he sits down in front of the microphone and he goes, "LeBron James, screw him! Why isn't LeBron coming on my show?" And the great David Shepard joins us right now. Shep, how you been, buddy?
Zach Gelb, I'm doing well. Congratulations on your award. It's basically an award when you are asked to speak anywhere. So you look dapper, man. And I was checking out your show as I usually do, and we've come full circle, man. It's a pleasure to be on with you, man. Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate it. I will say, you are consistently, I think, the only person in my life that refers to me by first and last name. Anytime I talk to you, it's always Zach Gelb, Zach Gelb. And for, like, sometimes when you used to produce me, like, most people just call me Zach. My friends, they call me Gelb. But on the radio, I don't think most people call me Gelb. And, like, you would then be talking and be going on some, like, take about LeBron. Because we have history with LeBron James. You once overtook my entire show for an hour with one of those dopey GOAT debates with LeBron and Michael Jordan. And I hated myself for, like, an hour of my show because we unleashed the Shepherd. You let Shep out of Pandora's box, and there was no putting the toothpaste back in the tube. But anyway, you would used to call me, you'd be like, issue and a take, and just be like, Gelb, 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 Gelb. And I'm like, oh my God, it's either Zach Gelb or just Gelb with him. So I've always noticed that about you. But anyway, is that fair to say you don't love LeBron James? Because I've always sensed throughout the years, you respect his talent, but you're not a big fan of LeBron James.
You'd have to be an idiot and an ignorant adult to not love what LeBron James has meant for the game of basketball, the 22 years of consistent greatness. And Gelb, we're talking about a guy that came into the NBA and was a top 10 player from day one. Mm-hmm. And the only reason he didn't make the All-Star game was because there was envy and there was jealousy. Yeah. That's the bottom line. And in year 22, he is still a top 10 player in the world. It's insane.
Top 5.
We've never seen this before, ever. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about LeBron, and I'm going to talk about this on the Good Shepherd, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. Saturday, Sunday.
Plug number 1.
There you go. Gelb, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
LeBron James this season is putting up 25 points per game. He is doing that with 8 assists per game, 8 rebounds per game, and he's shooting over 50% from the floor.
Yes.
How many other people do you think are doing that at planet Earth at the top level of basketball in 2024, 2025? How many other guys?
At his age?
No, in general, any age. Your age, Samter's age, Nico's age, any age.
No one.
Nikola Jokic. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. That's the guy that should have been the back-to-back MVP. So do I love LeBron as a basketball player? Hell yeah, I do. Of course. Now, hijacking a franchise and saying because Clutch Sports and the relationship they have with LA, you better draft my son, even though there's 500,000 other guys more qualified to play on an NBA roster than Bronny? He opened up this to his family.
Why does that annoy? Can I ask you a question? Why does that annoy you? That doesn't. All right. So LeBron's son is on the team. They used an irrelevant second-round draft pick. And all right, this is what LeBron's doing. That's what happens when you're so accomplished and you get control of the franchise. You could call your shots.
Okay, you're going to hate me for another hour. So I'm going to bring up Michael Jordan for 1 second.
Oh, no. If you start a GOAT debate, I will end your stream tonight.
This is not a GOAT debate.
I'll end the stream. Don't do a GOAT debate, Shep.
It's not a GOAT debate. It's to put into perspective how as completely astonishing and jackassery this move is by LeBron James.
Now you're stealing my words.
This is not a GOAT debate. What I will say is this. By the way, should come on your show or my show at some point. What I will say is this. LeBron James, okay, is equal to Michael Jordan in many facets of the game. Most people have these guys 1-2, 1A, 1B, however you want to describe it.
Sure.
Fair enough. Let me tell you something, because I remember when he played at Central Florida. Marcus Jordan was 10 times the player that Bronny James was at USC. And he was a bad first husband. I don't know about his second marriage, but it's very well documented what he did in his first marriage. I know he was not the best teammate. I know he's not the best human being because he signs autographs for nobody unless they're a woman. Okay, that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But he does do this. He doesn't throw his family under the bus and have an unqualified son in the NBA over 400 other guys that should have that roster spot. You cannot hijack a franchise and tell a franchise.
Yes, you can. You're LeBron James. He just did it. And look, right now, they're an unbelievable team, and they have a chance to go to the NBA Finals in the second seed in the Western Conference. Like, I despise J.J. Redick. I can't stand him. I'm rooting for the Lakers to fail, going into the season. But even I will say, this story right now with LeBron and Luka and how stupid Nico Harrison is, it's fun.
Right.
I'm in on the Lakers, so who cares? The thing I don't like about LeBron is this.
Right. Can I just tell you why?
Hold on. I want to finish one thing. Let me finish,
Go ahead.
Shep.
Go ahead.
We'll give you time. Don't worry. The thing I don't like about LeBron, this is the one thing, the two things I really don't like about him. Rivalries in his era are non-existent because he just tries to be best friends with everybody. Kobe just wanted to kill you when he stepped on the court. Michael wanted to embarrass you when he stepped on the court. LeBron is too politician-y to me. He just tries to be buddy-buddy with everybody. And also, you are allowed to have your son in the NBA. That doesn't bother me. It bothers you, whatever. We could agree to disagree. We're men here. We could shake hands and we can move on. But in this case, what Stephen A. said was a nothing burger. And for LeBron to basically cry about it is ridiculous to me. Stephen A., I texted Stephen A. this morning. He's 100% right. 100% right in this situation. So the sensitivity of LeBron, I think, is ridiculous. And also him trying to be buddy-buddy with everybody. I want my great athletes to have that Brady mentality, that killer mentality. They're not playing to be friends. They're playing to kick your ass and win as many championships as possible.
The reason I dislike LeBron James, which you have no issue with, and I respect that, aside from hijacking a franchise and dictating and determining who that franchise can draft, is this. Mm-hmm. He needs to hear how great he is every single day. He needs to be known that he's the king, that everyone should be stroking his unhealthy ego 24/7, 365 days a week. Because
and you know what, too, Shep? When are we really critical of LeBron James? Outside of the move to Miami, which I didn't even really care. It's just how he did it, and then he made good in it going back to Cleveland, the best moment of his career, winning that championship. It's like, when is LeBron really criticized? There's only...
He got buried in 2011. He got absolutely torched. You remember that.
But outside,
you remember that. 2014,
and then the Daryl Morey China incident. That was when he was silent on that. That was pretty much it. And then the Bronny stuff. But outside of that,
if we want to go all the way back to at the beginning of his career, he was silent when his teammate Ira Newble stood up for genocide in Darfur. Okay. And LeBron James was completely silent. So he took some criticism for that too.
But I don't remember there being a ton of national, like, in terms of everyone slamming LeBron like we slam other athletes. This guy's been in the league for 22 years. There's been really minimal moments in the large picture of us crushing LeBron James. And that's why, over such an innocuous comment by Stephen A. to make this such a big deal, it's ridiculous to me. Hey, let me go ahead. Go ahead. My bad.
Again, Stephen A. is the conduit to the media because, as you've said on your show many times, Stephen A. is the main guy right now in sports.
Oh yeah,
he is the creme de la creme. We're all aiming for that bar right now. Yourself, many other people, obviously.
Now, I don't need a $100 million contract. I'll take a $2 million contract if I'm being honest.
Well, that's happening at some point, I'm sure, but that's above my pay grade, of course. But there you go. But I will say, you got a very good agent, by the way. But I will say this, Gelb, because I know who your agent is. But when it comes to LeBron, the reason there's so much, I would guess, I would want to say condemnation right now and condemnation towards LeBron is because of this. Kobe, he didn't shun you. He didn't completely give you a stiff arm, your words, if you disagreed
Not
with
the
him.
arm stiff, the stiff arm.
There you go. If there was some kind
Good
of,
job, Jeff.
Thank you, Gelb. If there was some kind of disagreement, if there was some kind of, opposition you took with Kobe Bryant, Kobe understood that you had a job to do. When Kobe Bryant would do these all-star games, and he was the absolute figurehead of the NBA by that point.
Yeah.
He was Kobe Bryant was the face of the league. He would sit down for 15, 20, 25 minutes with publications that he understood were not going to make that much airwaves.
Okay.
They were not going to make that much noise. But he did that because he understood that people have a job to do. LeBron has lived in this bubble for 25 years at this point. Everything he does, it's his world. And if you disagree with him, if you take opposition with him, if you poke holes in him, you are the enemy. What he doesn't understand is being a human being, people can have disagreements, but also have mutual respect.
Sure, but
he doesn't understand that.
He could get away with it. He could get away with it because he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and he's been the face of the NBA for the last 2 decades. I'm not saying you're wrong, but there's people that get away with certain things, and we could all bitch and complain about it, but there's nothing we can do. I want to ask you, so you put in a request to the Lakers to interview LeBron James.
Damn right I did.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with the request. It's more so like acting surprised that the Lakers didn't get back to you. And I'm not just saying that's you. That like I could put in a request. Sure. Anyone on this network, maybe Rich Eisen is the one person that could get a response at least from the Lakers on LeBron James. But put that aside.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on a word count here. I want this to be condensed.
I don't know what that means, but go ahead.
That means that load management. I'm talking your terms,
NBA
terms. Don't speak too much. You wanted 3 minutes with LeBron, so that's probably 2 questions.
Bob Costas is half a question, but yes.
What would not even a half question? But what would your 2 questions be to LeBron? What's question 1? Go ahead.
Why are you so opposed to people being objective when it comes to your career? And my second question would be, do you feel like by inviting your son onto your team, when no other team was going to give him a look, don't you feel like you have opened up Pandora's box in terms of fair and objective commentary?
Okay, that's fair. Those are 2 good questions. All right, just give me the team. Eastern Conference, who's in the NBA Finals?
Cleveland.
Ooh, not the Celtics. Interesting.
No.
Western Conference, who's in the NBA Finals? Come on, Shep, take the Lakers here.
Anybody but LeBron. That's what I was going to say. No, the answer is going to be Denver. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they're too happy with regular season wins. They throw parties every single night when they win. It's not necessary. You talk about a Denver team that is even better than they were in 2023 with the depth, and obviously you got a Russell Westbrook, a 17-year veteran that's got something to prove right now, Gelb. A lot of people have written him off. So he's got something to prove right now. This is his time. It's Nikola Jokic's time. He's still the best player on planet Earth. Sorry for going over the word count, but I wanted to be diligent and thorough with my answer.
For your standards, that was pretty condensed. I was pretty good. I was pretty good with that.
I appreciate it. Well, Gelb, but that speaks to you as a radio host, that you get me fired up like this, and you and I go back and forth, and I can't shut the hell up.
Shep, I know I can get you fired up very easily.
I took the bait too many times on that. I've grown up in my 38 years. I'm not 45 like Samter, but I'm getting up there too.
Are you still coaching the high school team, by the way?
I just stopped last week. I'm going to be coaching again probably next season. I love it. I've been fortunate enough to coach Marv Albert's grandson, and I know he wants to get into this business. Yes.
That's awesome.
And
has Marv come to a game?
No. I've coached but you know who has come to a game that would have no issue with any media saying anything negative about him as long as it was fair and objective and impartial.
Now, Carmelo Anthony's. I was gonna guess it.
Sorry.
You're coaching Carmelo Anthony's kid, is that right?
Yeah, he's the antithesis of LeBron. You can actually hold the conversation in the whole court with Carmelo. He doesn't think he's better than everyone and walks on water and elevates above everyone else's premise.
You know what, though?
I wore a jacket, by the way, so Daly wasn't commenting on my weight because you have taken the absolute right track in losing weight, and you look like a freaking model at this point. I'm trying to get there, and I will get there. And I can beat Mike Tyson, Gelb. That's not a joke. That's not a running gag.
Shep.
Sorry.
Stop reading.
I couldn't help myself.
Stop reading the comments. Stop reading the comments.
I know, but I love those guys. I love those guys.
I know, but you know,
they're the best. They're
you
the best.
gotta
They're
step
so
away
funny.
from the comments a little bit. I'm just trying to help you here. Last thing I'll say, I'm a little annoyed at Carmelo Anthony. I was invited to a dinner in the financial district where I was told Carmelo Anthony was going to show up with someone that he's in business with. And Carmelo Anthony didn't show up to the dinner. You know? So I don't know what's going on there, but I was a little insulted.
Well, life happens, and you never know if it's a family emergency.
But
I can
if
tell
this
you,
was LeBron, Shep would say, oh, no, terrible move.
No, because Carmelo never took the easy way out 4 different times in his career.
Oh, stop.
And you know that.
Stop. All righty. I would say that you just need to let it go with LeBron. Let it go. Just let it go, Shep.
Gelb, I just went on a litany in the first 2 minutes of your interview with me.
But you did the yeah, but. You did the yeah, but. Come on. That's because like saying, I like someone, yeah, but, you know?
I love him as a basketball player. And by the way, the last thing I'll say is this, I apologize, but the thing about Stephen A. Smith is it's a credit to him that with LeBron James in the heat of a Western Conference seeding battle
it's a
for
massive
that
win for Stephen A.
Massive. Yeah. And I thought his comments were very poignant and completely on course with who he's become as a journalist. And I'm team Stephen A. And I might even try to make a segment out of this, by the way, and tag him so then he can retweet us. What do you think of that?
I'm going to assume that he's not going to retweet you.
Okay, fair enough.
But it's
so he's like the Lakers brass. He doesn't get back to me either. Is what you're saying?
Are you going to reach out to the Lakers again?
Of course I will.
Oh my God.
Gelb, I don't. Can if I'm going over time, tell me to shut up.
I got about 45 seconds before Ack wants to kill me.
Okay, sorry, Ack. Love you, buddy.
Too late already.
Go
ahead, Jeff.
Here's what I will say. Whatever you think of me, I've been in this business for 15 years now on a national level. I do host multiple times a week on a national platform that reaches 300 affiliates. I'm not saying I'm Rich Eisen. I'm not saying I'm Colin Cowherd or Jim Rome or Stephen A. Smith.
Sure.
But I am somebody. And I promise you, LeBron, this will be a meaningful interview. So don't poo-poo me and shun me like I'm in Grand Rapids. And I don't know why we always pick on Grand Rapids.
Oh, you do. I don't. I love all the markets.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, Des Moines, I don't do any of that. Anyway, Shep, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Gelb. Appreciate you, man.
You got it. There he is. The Good Shepherd. David Shepard on the Infinity Sports Network. I think a lot of people are stunned Shep and I were talking to each other on the air. All righty. Good stuff there by Shep. I think I could have walked away during one of those questions, went to the bathroom, got lunch, then also ordered dinner, then washed my hands, then, straighten up my sports jacket. I think Shep would still talk. He could talk, man. All righty. Let's get Ack with the latest update.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Well, Jonathan Allen is officially a free agent, released by Washington after 8 years. He was limited to just 8 games last year. And the Titans also released pass rusher Harold Landry, as expected. The Cavaliers have been the NBA's best team and have 2 of the league's longest winning streaks. Cleveland won 15 straight to open the year and is looking for its 13th in a row tonight when they tip off against the Hornets in Charlotte. First-year coach Kenny Atkinson has enjoyed one great honeymoon season with his team leading the league in wins and said there's a lot behind their success.
Great talent, great continuity, and great togetherness. I mean, you take those 3 things, and it seems like, everything's kind of gone our way.
Not to be outdone, the Thunder have 51 wins, one fewer than the Cavaliers, and go for their 6th in a row tonight against the Blazers. Memphis can clinch the American Athletic Conference regular season title outright with a win tonight against South Florida. The NHL trade deadline passed. The Hurricanes were unwilling to meet Mikko Rantanen's contractual demands, so he goes to Dallas for 2 first-rounders, 2 third-rounders in Logan Stankoven, and then signs an 8-year, $96 million extension. And the Bruins' fire sale includes Captain Brad Marchand going to the Florida Panthers. I'm Rich Eckler.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, let's hit the phones. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. Let's go to Alan in Milwaukee next up on the Zach Gelb Show. Alan, what's shaking?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Doing great. What do you got for me?
Man, two things real quick. I think it's weak sauce by LeBron to try and hijack, somebody that gets paid to talk about what they see on the basketball court. Obviously, Stephen A., I think he played it cool. I think he invented a new phrase, and I'll call it passive-aggressively petty, because he sat there on TV, with his tail between his legs, voice all soft, and act like he was, trying to reflect as a parent and all this stuff. And I think he threw and at the same time threw LeBron under the bus, as saying basically he saw through the weakness of his son's game and came to him, as if his kid was an all-star when, people used to call LeBron LeBrick, and I think he just didn't want people coming around eventually calling his son Brick James.
Well, here's the thing, Alan. You can't have it both ways. Like a year ago, LeBron James was saying Bronny is better than a lot of players in the NBA. And then when you get to the NBA and you're not ready and people criticize you in a fair manner, like people could be unfair with criticism, that to me is where LeBron, you can't be pushing how great your son is and then walk it back when he gets to the NBA and he's just not ready and want everyone basically to only say nice things. I think LeBron is the loser here. I think he comes off as extremely sensitive. And I think it's a massive win for Stephen A. Not only is it a massive win for Stephen A. because he just got a $100 million contract, but then also you have Stephen A. Smith sitting there courtside and LeBron goes out of his way to bring up something to him that Stephen A. Smith said that is not that big of a deal. Let me play you, though, because I haven't thought about, did Stephen A. have his tail in between his legs today when he's talking about the confrontation with LeBron James? This is Stephen A. on ESPN earlier this morning responding to the video that we've all seen now.
That was LeBron James coming up to me, unexpectedly, I might add, to confront me about making sure that I mind what I say about his son. That wasn't a basketball player confronting me. That was a parent. That was a father. I can't sit here and be angry by LeBron James in any way in that regard. For the record, his agent and friend, Rich Paul, has my number. Maverick Carter, who works under him, has my number. LeBron James knows how to get in contact with me if he wanted to. He never called, because had he called and wanted to talk to me, I would have accepted that call. But that is not what he elected to do. Instead, he elected to confront me while I was sitting courtside, and he walked right up to me, and he said what he had to say. Apparently, he feels like I was slighting his son.
I don't think Stephen A. Smith comes off soft there. I think he already knew that he won, and he didn't want to dance on the grave of LeBron James just in terms of this moment. I think that's a fine and fair response by Stephen A., where he's like, he went out of his way to make a situation of this. If I'm Stephen A., I wouldn't be mad about it. I think it's good for Stephen A., and Stephen A. is in the business of entertainment, and he calls out LeBron for not going about this in a private manner if you wanted to actually have a serious conversation, and that's that. I think most people look at this and they go, oh, LeBron comes off as sensitive here. Let's go to Kevin in San Antonio. Kevin, I know it's been a while. How you been, my man?
Oh, yeah. How you doing? How you doing, Zach? I'm doing fine. I heard that subject about LeBron James. He's sensitive. If your son, he needs to me, my point of view, he needs to be developed. Yeah. He ain't an NBA player like LeBron James. LeBron James was gifted, and he was blessed to go to the NBA. Now, remember, they went to the championship against the Spurs. He got culture shock because they don't play the Spurs play together versus LeBron James. Okay, I'm going to pick somebody up. It's just like the YMCA. I'm going to pick this guy. We're going to win championship. It's not like that.
No, yeah, the teams weren't even close. If you're going back to that first final, that Cavs team had no chance of getting 4 victories, let alone a victory up against the San Antonio Spurs.
Right.
So, right. Yeah. That's it. All right, Kevin, appreciate the phone call. I like Kevin, but to me, LeBron's one of the greatest players of, we could separate that. LeBron's one of the greatest players of all time. He's top 2 player of all time. Period. Stop. with also that being said, if you're going to continue that conversation, like that's one statement, the next statement would be you could also be critical of what LeBron James has done here in the last 24 to 48 hours. And I thought Bronny should have stayed in college. I said he could have gone and been developed at with Drew Joyce, who played high school basketball with LeBron, and he could have got coached up by him at Duquesne. We had Coach Joyce on the show, if you remember talking about that. So I think another year would have been good for LeBron, but he had an opportunity to go play with his dad and be in the NBA here and there, and he took it. And you know what? That's everyone. It's adults, right? You have a decision to make. I don't have a problem with Bronny being on Lakers. Don't have a problem with it whatsoever. It doesn't bother me. But then also, you're a professional athlete. You're an adult now. You're allowed to be criticized within reason, and daddy doesn't need to find a way in LeBron James to freak out every time his son, gets criticized. And if I was Bronny, I would be annoyed with my dad today that he did that last night with Stephen A. I would feel uncomfortable if I was Bronny, even though it comes from a good place in theory from LeBron James. Let's go to Rob in Connecticut. Rob, what do you got?
Hey, what's up, Zach? Listen, I want to do my top 5. You ready?
Yeah.
My favorite host. Here we
okay. Go ahead.
I'll try and make it as quick as possible. Number 5. Put him up, Carl Dukes.
Ooh, I like
Number
Carl.
4.
I love that. Like that.
Number 4. The G-double-O-D Shepherd when he with Ray. Number 3. JR Sports Brief with Hickey. That's the smooth criminal right there. Number 2. Zach is back. All right.
Well, I'm not number 1. Rob, what are we doing here?
Hey, I'm
this
sorry,
is a Fugazi
Zach,
list,
but
then.
Stu and Mike, you guys kill it. I love you guys. But you know who number 1 is. The Milwaukee Maniac. Bart Winkler with Carlos with the K. Oh, Captain, my Captain Bart.
Well, then you know what? That's a part of the Zach Gelb radio tree because Bart filled in on my show and then got a full-time job at the network.
I know,
so I'm taking credit for that. I'm taking credit for that.
Hey, you guys are awesome. The whole Infinity crew.
Yeah.
Rob,
I'm doing power rankings of callers right now. I'm doing power rankings of callers right now, Rob. I'm putting you now at 3. I would have had you at 1 before you put me at 2. I'm now putting you at 3.
But listen, my fiance, whenever I'm on hold, she always says, last night she said, "Are you on hold again?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "They should give you a T-shirt or a hoodie."
Well, if we had the budget for it, I would absolutely give you a T-shirt or a hoodie, but I don't think that's in my budget. Hey, Rob, we appreciate it. Thanks so much. There he is, Rob in Connecticut. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We should have caller offs. Where you pin caller up against caller and just have them debate things. Imagine I like Kevin a lot and I like Rob a lot. Imagine you just have them debate things and see who, if we had a T-shirt or a sweatshirt, who gets a T-shirt or the sweatshirt. Do a little caller off.
I think we can get Chris in California to debate anybody about Kenny Pickett.
Oh. We have audio, right, of Chris in California? We don't need to play that now because we're up against it. But I didn't listen to that, and I thought I would get to it the other day. Supposedly, Chris in California continued his love for Kenny Pickett, and he usually does that on this show. That's where it started. Supposedly, he did it with the new big sheriff in town, Rich Eisen. We will get to that before we say goodbye on this Friday. One more hour to play. This is a funky Friday. Let me just tell you. I feel like I wear a sports coat today, and it's like effing Friday right now. I have no clue what this next 60 minutes are going to be. Anyway, we're coming on back. Shep joined us today. That's how crazy this show got. All righty, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
All righty, hour number 3 of our radio program. What a wild show so far. We started things off talking about Stephen A. Smith versus LeBron. Then people realized I was wearing a sports coat today, and I made a joke that I was going to be applying for the 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern time show that we have open and maybe do like a late night sexy sports talk show. And after that, somehow Shep came up, so we brought him on later on in the show. We just eviscerated Draymond Green for his heartless comments about the Karl Anthony Towns situation. Then we discussed about Brandon Ayuk potentially being on the move, how the Cleveland Browns just don't get it because Jimmy Haslam, their owner, isn't even meeting with Myles Garrett, which makes no sense to me to try to find a resolution to the situation that Myles Garrett wants out. The Browns don't want to trade him. At least you should have a meeting about it if you're the owner of the team. And Mr. Haslam said, thanks, but no thanks to Myles Garrett. We still got to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Vikings, Minnesota, with Sam Darnold, and also get into the future of Joe Burrow. But first up, without further ado, I'm not talking about Freddie Adu. Santa's got some questions for me. I got some answers, hopefully. You never know today. And we call this segment Onside Offside. We do it every Monday and Friday. And last time I checked, today is a Friday, so we get to Onside Offside right now.
Zach's taking on the most polarizing issues in sports. Which side of the line of scrimmage will he end up on?
Offside. Defense number 69.
It's Onsides, Offsides with Zach Gelb.
All righty, Mr. Samter, what do we got cooking today? Are we going Nico or are we going Samter here?
No, it's Mr. Samter today.
Okay. When I said Samter, Nico was looking at me like, what the heck are you doing? So that's why I was a little bit confused. I thought it was you, though. Go ahead.
Now, the Raiders just inked Max Crosby to a record-setting deal, and now their attention turns to the vacant quarterback spot. Diana Rossini reported today that Vegas would consider finding the quarterback in the draft, as we've talked about at number 6, via free agency, or now with a potential trade for a current starter, which could include names like Kirk Cousins in Atlanta or Geno Smith with the Seahawks. So onside, offside, the Raiders should trade for a veteran like Geno or Cousins rather than find one in the draft or free agency.
I'm going to go offside there.
Offside.
And the reason why is I look at free agency. I think you could have a 3-year plan with Sam Darnold. I think Aaron Rodgers, even on a 1-year deal, would be better than Geno Smith or Kirk Cousins. And also, I'd rather have Shedeur Sanders right now at this stage of his career or Cam Ward compared to Geno Smith or Kirk Cousins. So I just think those options are better than Geno Smith and Kirk Cousins. All right, next question.
Now, the Giants are looking for a quarterback, too, and after reports linked them to Aaron Rodgers, it seems like talks might be heating up a bit. Yesterday, Giants reporter Art Stapleton joined the Pat McAfee show and gave an interesting update.
From my understanding right now, and you guys may know better than me, that they are pretty significantly down a road where they are negotiating to the point where if Aaron Rodgers ends up as a Giant before the start of the league year next year, it would not be a shock to people in this area and at the Meadowlands.
You saying they're negotiating? Is that what you just said?
My understanding is yes. They have talked about what it would take to get Aaron here with the Giants, to not leave New Jersey. And my understanding is that at every turn, the Giants have yet to be scared off by the idea of, Aaron Rodgers coming on some show every Tuesday.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think from a football fit, this is something that they're seriously considering.
So onside, offside, the Giants would be making a mistake signing Aaron Rodgers.
Before I answer that question, latest top 4 Zach Gelb draft picks if the draft was tomorrow. This is what I think is going to happen. Shedeur Sanders, Tennessee. Cleveland. Oh, sorry. Cam Ward to Tennessee. I was going Charles Davis there for a second. Cam Ward to Tennessee. Shedeur Sanders to Cleveland. In at number 3, the Giants, Travis Hunter. In at number 4, Patriots, Abdul Carter. I think the Giants are signing Aaron Rodgers. And to answer your question, the Giants would be making a mistake signing Rodgers. I would prefer that Joe Shane moves up to 1 and gives up a 3, a 2, and you swap ones or even a swap of 1s and 2 3s, depending on what the return would be. I think it's somewhere in that ballpark to go get Cam Ward. I would rather prefer the Giants to go get Shedeur Sanders, but for 1 year and you're trying to save your job, I understand it's risky hitching your wagon to Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think it would be a mistake. It would be something that you could question. It'd be something that you have some skepticism. But am I going to sit here and say that it definitely would be a failure? I am not. Now, you have Malik Neighbors. You got Tyrone Tracy. That offensive line finally has to get beefed up. We've been saying that for like 7 years with the Giants. But I wouldn't say that it's a terrible mistake when you're fighting to try to save your job. So the Giants will be making mistakes signing Rodgers. I'm going offside.
Offside.
Now, we do have a Giant fan in the house today. Right, Nico? You're a Giant fan.
Unfortunately.
Would you want Rodgers?
Absolutely not.
Okay, who do you want?
I think that they're better off either signing someone like Justin Fields, who's younger, or trading up, like you said.
Okay. How about Sam Darnold? 3-year contract.
I just don't think that it's worth it because we've only seen him succeed in Kevin O'Connell's offense. And as much as I like Brian Dable, he's not Kevin O'Connell. So I just don't know if Darnold was only good because of what was around him in Minnesota.
Can I pitch you on a quarterback?
Yeah.
What about Daniel Jones? No, sorry. That was a troll moment right there. All righty, next question. What do we got here, Samson?
All right, well, the Chargers released Joey Bosa yesterday despite the 29-year-old making his 5th Pro Bowl last year, which is surprising because he only had 5 sacks. Though he has just 14 sacks and has missed 23 games.
Wait, he made the Pro Bowl?
I mean, you know, there's 9 other guys who probably bailed out in front of him.
Okay.
But yes, he was a Pro Bowler with 5 sacks. He has just 14 sacks, and he's missed 23 games the last 3 seasons. Now, over in the NFC, the Commanders released their 2-time Pro Bowler, Jonathan Allen, after he missed 9 games and a total of just 8.5 sacks the past 2 years. So onside, offsides, you believe neither Bosa nor Allen will be a difference maker for their new teams?
Small difference, medium difference, big difference on that scale, or no difference at all?
I mean, a guy who's going to come in there and make an impact.
Are they healthy?
I mean, that's part of your question. That's part of your answer.
I think in situational moments, both of those guys could still be good. If you're bringing them in to say, hey, they're playing 17 games, you're crazy. But do I think they could go in and contribute? Yes, I do. So I guess in that case, when you say neither Bosa nor Allen will be a difference maker for their new teams, difference maker, that's the key word. It kind of seems like I'm saying rotational piece. Is that a difference maker?
No.
Right? You could make a slight difference, but are you a difference maker? I would say then that's onsides. Yeah, I go onsides on that one. Number 4.
Now, real quick before I move on to number 4.
Yes.
Do you think that it would behoove Joey to join up with his brother Nick and play on the 49ers?
Yeah, if you want to take a cheap contract, I think it would be fun. But if you're trying to get paid, I would not think that the San Francisco 49ers are happening. I wouldn't. I think Buffalo's the team that everyone just keeps on throwing out there. DK Metcalf, Myles Garrett, and I was just about to do it with Joey Bosa, and I'm like, man, Buffalo's always that team that we just throw out there. Throw them out there. Lions too. Buffalo and the Lions. Almost like you have 2 franchises that have never won anything of significance. Never won a championship. Hey, we've seen, those 4 Super Bowl appearances for the Bills. At least they've been to Super Bowls. But we're all sitting there saying, we want both of those passionate fan bases to get rewarded. So I think we then overcompensate in, players available. Doesn't matter if he's still any good or not. Doesn't matter if he's got a lot of rust to knock off. Just throw him on either the Bills or the Lions. All righty, what do we got?
All right, number 4, Steelers leading rusher Najee Harris enters free agency as one of the top running back options after rushing for over 1,000 yards in each of his 4 seasons in the NFL. It's kind of under the radar, but he has 4 seasons in the league and 4 1,000-yard seasons. Now, reports link Harris to a variety of teams, including the Giants, Vikings, and the Cowboys, seem to be one of the favorites to sign him. So onside, offside, assuming Dak comes back healthy, the addition of Najee Harris would make the Cowboys an actual threat in the NFC.
Oh, offside. No. Make them better, but a threat? A threat is all you get to an NFC championship game. A threat is you could get to a Super Bowl. The Cowboys haven't done that since 1995. To put that into perspective, the man that you're listening to right now was in a diaper there with doo-doo in his underwear. All righty? So that's what was going on back then. Out of those teams, though, Giants, Vikings, and Cowboys, I would like to see Najee Harris on the Minnesota Vikings. And I think Najee Harris is actually disrespected. I'm not saying he's great, but you would almost think that he stinks. And that hasn't been the case with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I defend Najee Harris, and I've been a staunch defender of one Najee Harris. Last question. Take us home here, Mike.
Now, this week has been riddled with media stories around the NBA, starting with KD's fiery response to the media about his confrontation with coach Mike Budenholzer. Today, we've seen Kat get upset, and media and fans, with Draymond Green's podcast comments and mischaracterization and lack of apology when confronted with that.
By the way, Baron Davis, I just saw Samter tweeting up a storm about this during the break. Baron Davis offered his condolences to Karl Anthony Towns because, for people that don't know, Draymond Green ran his big dumb mouth pretty much, and he was saying, hey, Karl Anthony Towns missed the game against the Warriors because he was ducking Jimmy Butler for their incident going back to practice all those years ago in Minnesota. Turns out Karl Anthony Towns, a family friend of his, passed away because of breast cancer. So when called out on that, Draymond Green was so heartless, and he basically said, you know what? Oh, that's unfortunate, but I heard what I heard, and the Draymond Green show with Baron Davis will continue to roll on. Like, have a heart. You messed up. Say you were wrong. Offer your condolences, and then that's it, and this goes away. You messed up, right? You spoke out of term. You thought you knew something that was true that ended up being false. But instead, Draymond Green was just an a-hole once again. And sorry if that comes off as harsh. I don't care here. But Draymond Green's just a clown. That's the bottom line. And that situation, it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But anyway,
Totally
so Baron
agree.
Davis got caught up in this, right? And now Baron Davis is like, obviously saying on social media what Draymond Green should have said last night. So Baron Davis gets it. Draymond Green doesn't.
And the fact is, Baron didn't do anything wrong. Draymond made the mistake and was the one who doubled down without apologizing, and still Baron's apologizing. It makes no sense. But anyway, LeBron and Stephen A. has also been in the news. And now we have Kendrick Perkins at ESPN threatening to kick Charles Barkley's butt after Barkley made these comments on Inside the NBA last night.
I saw a fool idiot on TV talking about the Lakers save the NBA.
Save the NBA?
Yeah. He's an idiot and a fool, but he know he is. What's his name, Shaq?
Which one you talking about?
Kendrick Perkins.
Oh.
He said the Lakers, first of all, the Lakers have had a great 2 weeks. He said the Lakers saved the NBA season. That's because them fools on the other network, which we're going to be working for next year, that's all they talk about. Let me tell y'all something.
Tell me something.
And first of all, I want all the smoke. I don't whistle when I walk by the graveyard or anything like that. The season's been going great for the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Y'all just want to talk about the Warriors and the Lakers. They're both doing great. Don't get me wrong. If I turn out to be wrong, I got no problem with that. But y'all are idiots because y'all talk about the Lakers and the Warriors all the time. Y'all don't. The Cleveland Cavaliers have won 12 straight games. The Oklahoma City got the MVP, and they are on fire. Y'all are talking about who's in second place. That's the reason I get pissed.
So onside, offside, all of this drama is actually good for the NBA.
The LeBron drama, yes, because it's LeBron up against Stephen A., even though it's weak by LeBron. I don't think there's any winners in the Draymond Green situation. So, no, I don't think that's good for the NBA. Charles Barkley and Kendrick Perkins, it's entertaining. But here's you know what? I'm going to give you this answer as if I was Adam Silver. Yes, it gets people talking about your sport.
Your best friend.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a fan of this. Spineless Silver. Can't stand it. Worst commissioner in sports. Rob Manfred, I'll give credit, though. And I didn't like Rob, but I still don't love Rob. But Rob Manfred with the pitch clock and then this replay system that has started up, I saw that in spring training. I like it. Pitcher, catcher, batter. You have to make the decision right away. You only get 2 a game. I think it's good. I would like to see that happen. It was a very quick process when I saw it in Port St. Lucie. Silver's done nothing for years. But if I'm the commissioner, don't I want people talking about my games? And sometimes drama's good, but no one's talking about the regular season games. You got SGA, who's going to win the MVP. Ja Morant's resurgent with the Grizzlies. You have LeBron teaming up with Luka. The Golden State Warriors have found life here, and they're back. The Cavs are awesome. The Celtics are awesome. No one's talking about that. We're talking about the dopey comments and this just insensitive comments by Draymond Green. We're talking about Kendrick Perkins and Charles Barkley fighting, and we're talking about LeBron being Mr. Sensitive to Stephen A. Smith. So from a commissioner standpoint, I don't think this drama is actually good for the NBA. And it shows the biggest problem with the NBA and why it's like the Real Housewives. That's a great show, by the way, Real Housewives of New Jersey. Love it. But when you look at the NBA, we talk more about the offseason. We talk about TNT inside the NBA. We talk about the postseason. We never talk about the regular season. Why don't we break down games for the regular season in the NBA? We rarely do it. So for that reason, I would say all this drama is actually good for the NBA. I would go offside.
Offside.
Now, did you realize this, Samter? You can fade down the music. This Stephen A. confrontation with LeBron James. When I saw it, I thought it was after the game, right? Didn't you think it was after the game, Samter?
Yeah, I would think so, or maybe like during a timeout, but I thought it was at the very end or after the game, yeah.
It was right before the start of the fourth quarter.
Wow.
That makes it even worse. That LeBron sees Stephen A. right before the start of the fourth quarter in a game that's good. And he's like, oh, now I have to confront him. That's when I confront him. That's crazy.
Remember when LeBron used to go 0 dark 30 and just shut off all social media in the playoffs so he can focus on the games? Yeah. Here he is confronting a reporter or an analyst or a host in the middle of a game before the fourth quarter starts?
Yeah. Now, I got to make sure that I got that right. I hope I didn't get what is it, Centelled? What's that?
Centelled, yeah.
Centelled? Yeah. So this is via Legends of the NBA, 80K subscribers on YouTube, NBA analyst, professional lip reader. So, I saw it on one of the big accounts too, which you never know. So I thought that was after the game. I'm watching a video now, so if I got duped here by AI, I got duped. But he's standing up, they're in a huddle, and he goes up to Stephen A. And then it cuts to the other video. So unless if they just merge that together because there's a cut. But I think that was actually, I thought it was after the game. But I guess it was right before the start of the fourth quarter, according to this one account. Hopefully that's not a ball sack sports moment there for Zach Gelb. Oh, that would actually fit what we were doing earlier in the show in that 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern time show idea. Anyway, Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. We will take a timeout. I don't know why I signaled for a timeout as if I was a coach. I guess it's a sports code right now. I think there's some Nate Oates in me today. This is like, wouldn't this be like a sports jacket that Nate Oates would be wearing? So we're getting ready for March Madness, obviously. When we return, Sam Darnold. Little update on him. What is Ian Rappaport saying? What scoop is he serving up? Maybe at a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts. We'll see what Ian Rappaport has to say about Sammy Slingin' Darnold next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. I'll have a comment on Sam Darnold and a comment on Joe Burrow. Let's start off, though, with Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network on the Vikings' feelings about Sam Darnold. Listen up.
The Vikings have basically said they would like Sam Darnold back. It's going to be less than the franchise tag, but still they would like him back at a manageable number. They can build the team around him. But if he comes back, J.J. McCarthy, who they really like, is right there. So if Darnold holds him off during training camp, they'll have to split the reps. They'll go into the season, and everyone will know if one quarterback falters, whoever wins, the other one is right there.
I think you have to make a decision here. I think you have to make a decision here now. I understand competition. You drafted J.J. McCarthy with the 10th overall pick. To me, it's simple. You either commit to Sam Darnold as your long-term starting quarterback, give him a 3, give him a 4-year deal, or you say, hey, we're going to J.J. McCarthy. Now, Nico, I know you are a Michigan honk. What do you think J.J. McCarthy can do with the Minnesota Vikings?
I think he could be better than Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold threw for 35 touchdowns with Minnesota last year, so I don't see why J.J. McCarthy, someone who has been a proven winner in the past already, can't be even better with that receiving core and coaching staff around him.
And I think it's a misnomer with J.J. McCarthy. Like, they had a very good team at Michigan. The offensive line was impeccable. Blake Corum was phenomenal. Donovan Edwards was a home run hitting running back, where it's either all or nothing, hit the home run or he strike out, right? But the wide receivers, they weren't that great at Michigan. And I know they ran first and they limited McCarthy and he was a game manager at Michigan. But the wide receivers at Michigan, like, we're talking about Roman Wilson And Colston Loveland was a nice tight end. What I thought Colston Loveland was going to be, and he's still going to be a first-round tight end, but he never, blew your socks off at Michigan consistently. So, Cornelius Johnson, right?
Yeah, the two games that I always point to for J.J. McCarthy's college tape is 2022 at Ohio State, and then the game I know they lost, but the TCU game as well.
The second half, because when they let him move around a little bit more, that's when he really started chucking that ball around.
Threw for over 300 yards in both of those games. So
you said the 2022 game against Ohio State?
Yeah.
So
that was when Blake Corum was
hurt. The game at Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he had that big touchdown run.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah. I think he had a big touchdown pass to Cornelius Johnson in that game, too.
Two of them, yeah. One was 75 yards, and then the other one maybe 60.
So here's the thing. Sam Darnold worked last year in Minnesota. It was successful. But at the end of the season, did I say to myself, I need Sam Darnold back in Minnesota? No. Do I think Sam Darnold, if he leaves, could J.J. McCarthy be competent, be just as good, even in what would be his first true season as a starter? I think he could be good. I think he could be just as good as Sam Darnold. I'm not saying McCarthy has the ceiling of a great quarterback in this league. But McCarthy with O'Connell, McCarthy with Justin Jefferson, McCarthy with Jordan Addison, McCarthy with potentially Najee Harris if he winds up there, McCarthy with TJ Hawkinson, I would say, if you said to me, McCarthy the next 3 years or Sam Darnold the next 3 years, who's more likely to win a playoff game? One playoff game. I would say it's more likely that it's J.J. McCarthy over Sam Darnold. That would be me. But I don't think this is bring both back type of situation. I think either you give the long-term deal to Sam Darnold, he's your guy. Or you say, JJ, you're our guy. Sam, thank you so much. But if you bring back Sam Darnold, and I know that people could say, oh, but it could be on a 1 or 2 year deal. No. I'm not kicking the can down the road here anymore. And I know, right, this question's on when JJ McCarthy is going to be back. He'll be ready to go by the start of the week 1 of the NFL season, okay? So if you are going to go to Sam Darnold, then you trade J.J. McCarthy. Because if J.J. McCarthy was in this draft class, Nico, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, let's see how big of a honk you are, Michigan honk you are. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, J.J. McCarthy. How do you think they would rank?
I mean, I would think that J.J. has to be the number one quarterback in the
recruiting you're a
class.
Honk. Honk! Michigan honk! That's what you are right now.
Why, you disagree?
Yeah, I think that Cam Ward would still be one. I think there would be a debate between Shedeur and JJ. I would take Shedeur over JJ, and I think JJ would be a legitimate third quarterback in this draft. Like, Jackson Dart is an illegitimate third quarterback in this. He's the guy that they're saying, but outside of our guy Charles Davis, no one's really mocking Jackson Dart to go that high. It's like maybe he could go to the first round. I said it yesterday, like the Steelers, and there was one other team, Seattle, potentially the only two teams that I'd be okay would take in Jackson Dart in the in the first round. Why would you put McCarthy in front of Ward and Sanders? Just wondering.
I just think that McCarthy is the better quarterback. I mean, we got taken before Bo Nix, and look how good Bo Nix was. So when you compare him to how he ranked in the other draft class, so with Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, there was talks about McCarthy going 6 to the Giants last year.
There was also talks of Will Levis going 1, and he fell to the second round.
Right, but I just think he compared so well to those other quarterbacks where, like, if Cam Ward was in last year's draft class with those other guys, he would have by far been the 6th best quarterback, in my opinion.
Oh, I disagree with that. That's a good question. Cam Ward or Caleb Williams, I think Caleb Williams would go. Cam Ward or Jaden Daniels, I think Jaden Daniels would go. Cam Ward or Drake May, my guy, Drake May would go. So those three, yes. After that, I would say Cam Ward goes in front of Bo Nix. Cam Ward goes in front of J.J. McCarthy. Michael Penix is really tough. Ooh, that's really tough. I would lean Michael Penix. So I think he'd be the 5th quarterback, Cam Ward, I do. And I think Shedeur would go in front of Bo, and Shedeur would go in front of JJ as well. Now, with that being said, Bo Nix had a wonderful year. Now, if Bo Nix goes to last year, the Patriots, are we talking about Bo Nix glowingly? Probably not. He got teamed up with the right guy in Sean Payton. One more thing, and then we'll get to a news brief on the other side. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's locked into a contract, but I think it's something fascinating to monitor here. Joe Burrow is a winner. Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I think right now he's the 4th best quarterback in football. Joe Burrow is a great quarterback, right? An elite quarterback. Joe Burrow is open to giving Cincinnati every chance. You could see the first legitimate moment of friction here, even though he's signed up and inked on this deal with the Bengals. If T. Higgins isn't back, and if you don't, they'll get the contract figured out with Jamar Chase. But depending on those two guys and also Trey Hendrickson, this could make Joe Burrow reevaluate his future in Cincinnati. Now, could he go have a successful season this year, even if they traded Trey Hendrickson? Yes. But there is a perception, and I think it's a fair perception, and it's been well documented, that the Bengals are cheap. This is an offseason that it's going to be massive, and then what the Bengals do this year on the field. Because you could have a rough offseason and have a great year on the field, and it wipes away all that pain. But I think you got to monitor those 3 big names in Jamar Chase, in T. Higgins, and then also in Trey Hendrickson. And depending on the outcomes with that, plus if the Bengals succeed or fail this year, you could start to see Joe Burrow for the first time in his career get impatient with the Cincinnati Bengals franchise. That's something to monitor, because just because you have a player locked into a contract doesn't mean he has to honor it, doesn't mean he has to stay, and doesn't mean that he can't force his way out. So I think Jamar Chase is a big part of that with him staying there. I would assume they get the Jamar Chase deal done this offseason. If they don't, I just don't understand what they're doing in Cincinnati. But you got to monitor the end game here with T. Higgins and also Trey Hendrickson. Because if you lose one of them, you may lose Burrow, and Burrow may reevaluate his state in the franchise. And let me tell you something. If Joe Burrow became available, I would send first-round pick. A lot of first-round picks for Joe Burrow. All righty. Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. We'll come on back with a news brief. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, a couple of big-name defenders joined the free agent market today, as expected, with Jonathan Allen released by Washington after 8 years, and the Titans officially cut loose Harold Landry. The Cavaliers lead the NBA with 52 wins and go for their 13th straight tonight in Charlotte, while the Thunder will try to keep pace. The West leaders have won their last 5 and have 51 wins, and will look to add to it tonight when they host the Blazers. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander added to his MVP-worthy campaign with 41 in the win over Memphis. Denver has its own MVP candidate, 3-time winner Nikola Jokic. They'll go for back-to-back wins against the Suns after his 22 points and 15 rebounds lifted them past the Kings 2 days ago. And head coach Michael Malone appreciates his big man.
It's not just the minutes that he plays, but think about what he shoulders every night within those minutes. He's the anchor and centerpiece of our defense, which he doesn't get enough credit for. He's a guy that we play through. He's got to score for us. He's got to play make for us. He's got to rebound for us. He's got to make everyone around him better.
The NHL trade deadline has passed. Mikko Rantanen on the move again, this time to Dallas, where he signs an 8-year, $96 million extension to get him. The Stars give up 2 first-round picks, 2 third-round picks, and Logan Stankoven. And the Bruins have traded Captain Brad Marchand to the Florida Panthers. I'm Rich Eck.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
This MLS game preview is sponsored by Lowe's. Members get more with My Lowe's Reward. Don't wait. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help you save. Lionel Messi has sat out the past 2 games, including Inter Miami's 4-1 win over the Houston Dynamo. Is that the name of the team? Last week, due to fatigue. It's in air quotes. Do you not buy the fatigue there, Samter? Do you not buy the fatigue on Lionel Messi? It says fatigue in air quotes.
Well, I mean, he's missed 2 games for fatigue.
Okay, so you don't buy it.
I mean, no.
Load management? Is that what
Maybe.
this is?
I mean, it's the first 3 games of the season, so how can you be load managing this early?
Mm-hmm. But is hoping to lace it up on Sunday against Charlotte as Miami looks for its second win in its first 3 games. Now, did Lowe's in this sponsorship say that they wanted to do an MLS game preview? Is this guy, or are you guys just trolling me to try to talk more soccer?
No, it's the MLS game preview.
Okay. I was just asking. Inquiring minds right there. Before I get to a news brief, I have breaking news in the sports world. Can we try to guess what's going on right now? This is big news. And it's about I'm not going to give any hints. So actually, Samter, you could ask for one hint.
Okay, so I'm going to ask because I don't want to get too deep in the hint. Mm-hmm. Is it big news or is it huge news?
Big news.
My guess is Trey Hendrickson has been traded.
Survey says Nico Kudavitas, Iamaliava, Scarlatos.
So I have notifications on, like my tweet notifications.
Oh, you could cheat. That's fine.
All of the big beat reporters, and I haven't gotten anything.
Oh, it's because you don't follow Ryan Glasspiegel.
So I must be missing something here.
Ryan Glasspiegel. Glass break. Hearing that Skip Bayless taped an episode of his podcast with Stephen A. Smith to release early next week. It's the first time they've been together on air since Bayless left First Take for FS1 in 2016. Is there a bigger winner right now in the sports world than Stephen A. Smith? $100 million man on his latest contract. LeBron, helicopter parent, sensitive, circling around. Stephen A. Smith, defending Bronny and something that he doesn't need to be defended about. And now he is doing his greatest charity act of the year, Stephen A. Smith, in joining Skip Bayless on a podcast that will be must watch and must listen to.
The question is, did they record this podcast before or after the LeBron confrontation?
Hearing that Skip Bayless taped an episode of his podcast with Stephen A. Smith to be released early next week. I would imagine that's before, but Stephen A. Smith is going to give you everything about this situation with LeBron because he did so on First Take, and I don't know when he's doing. Maybe we'll talk to Izzo. Izzo works with him. I know he does. He's at some point today. I don't know. It may have already happened. He's doing the Stephen. I'm assuming it already happened, and then they'll release it later. They're doing the Stephen A. Smith show. So I think by then, do I really need Skip talking to Stephen A? Unless if they're going to rank what was worse, LeBron with Stephen A. or Richard Sherman with Skip. Now I think it was more of an L for Skip because Richard Sherman embarrassed him on his own platform. I think a lot of people walked away from the Stephen A. LeBron kerfuffle. And unless if you're just a LeBron sycophant, you're like, oh, Stephen A. won. Anyway, it's time to Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Bella B. in Calgary says, Zach, have you ever been on a blind date? Thanks, Bella B. in Calgary. Hashtag Ask the Pros and at INSSportsNet. Simply tweet your question just like Bella B. in Calgary did at INSSports or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Can I ask a question in 2025? What qualifies as a blind date?
I think a blind date would be you going out with somebody without knowing what they look like or without seeing a picture of them. That to me is a blind date.
Okay. Because I was like, is matching on Hinge like a blind date? You've never met the person before or
I think the idea of blind is not seeing, not having seen.
Yeah, I guess that was a dumb question.
It's not a dumb question, I think, but I think when you break it down, it makes sense.
So, if someone's mother or someone's girlfriend says, oh, I have a cute girl that I want you to go out with, I do usually ask for a picture, if I'm being honest. But have I ever? Yeah, I have been in a spot where I've just trusted the person and then went on the date. But I was just wondering what qualifies technically as a blind date. But usually I like to see a picture because half of it, of course, is the emotional connection. The other half is also the attraction to the person. You know, that's part of it.
And we'll say this for another day, but I do want to know if you've ever been catfished before.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Oh.
No, we don't need to save that for another day.
Okay. I have.
I'm in the Manti Te'o documentary.
Yeah.
I don't get catfished.
I
All right? Now, next date, I'm going to get catfished. Whoa, what's going on here? You've been catfished.
Multiple times. Some bad ones, too.
Well, we'll save that for the late night on the Infinity Sports Network.
With Moist Mike.
With Moist Mike. Moist Mike. Infinity. Sexy Sports Network. Anyway, let's get to a news brief. Hit it!
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Mark Cuban was on WFAA North Texas. He said the Mavs needed to get more for Luka Doncic.
If the Mavs are going to trade Luka, that's one thing. Just get a better deal. You know, no disrespect to Anthony Davis, but get 3. If I still firmly believe if we had gotten 4 unprotected number ones and Anthony Davis and Max Christie, this would be a different conversation.
I don't think he's wrong. I still think people would be irate that they traded Luka Doncic. It would be a different conversation. I still think that people would be irate and upset because you traded away a top 5 player in his prime. And Cuban's still a minority owner, or however you want to say it. If he was still running the show, there's no way that this deal would happen, though. Tim Kawakami was on Papa and Silver and KNBR in San Francisco, and he said the 49ers are feeling buyer's remorse on Brandon Ayuk. Ayuk is on fire.
There's tension. There's absolutely tension that still lingers over that negotiation last summer, into the fall. And they did not like the price that they paid for him. I think it was, let's go for it. We're going for the Super Bowl from the football side. And I think the negotiators never felt good about that number, ever, $30 million a year. And there's some, I think they were ready to trade him multiple times last year, maybe even the year before.
But then they paid him. And now you had those thoughts out there of doubt, and then he gets injured. So, yeah, I think it pops back up. I would not be shocked if he's traded. I almost expect it at this point. You just need a team that's willing to take on the contract, and then I don't think the compensation for Brandon Ayuk would be that crazy. I really don't. But to see what happens with DK and Brandon Ayuk, those are things to continue to monitor. Daniel Jeremiah was on the Pat McAfee show, and he had this little nugget on DK Metcalf.
Everybody's saying DK to New England, man. Everybody in the league thinks that.
I like that. I like that, DJ.
That just makes too much sense. They have all the money. They have all the space. They have no weapons. The high second round pick, what are they picking? Like 38, something like that?
Yeah, and they got 2/3.
So there's a second round pick, DK Metcalf.
Boom. Second and third, 2/3.
DK. I just want to be excited again with football. It's been a long time since my team won a championship. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. It's been a long time. Oh, for the longest time. I miss being excited about football. So, yes, if the Patriots get DK Metcalf this offseason, even if you don't think he's a true number 1 wide receiver, I would be excited. I want to be excited again about football. Football is beautiful. Football is romantic. Football is awesome. Football is lovely, especially when you're winning. And my team for a very long time, all they did was win. Let's go to Barry Bonds. He should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. All the Smoke podcast. Could he hit a 100-mile-per-hour pitch right now?
100-mile fastballs pitched to you today. You hitting any of them out?
100? That's easy.
Right now, today.
I don't care how hard you throw a baseball.
They're gone.
There ain't no way you can throw a baseball 66, so I can't just do like this. Now, if you're asking me to do something spectacular, that would take time for my body to get used to it at 60.
But just going up there.
But to go up there and hit it,
like
I don't care how hard you throw it.
Yeah.
As long as I can see it, I hit it.
How great would it have been if they said, could you do it with the juice? Could you be on the juice? Yes or no, Samter? Barry Bonds could hit a 100-mile-per-hour pitch right now.
100%.
Nico?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just one? Yeah, I think so as well. Let's go to Chris in California. Remember, he called us a year in advance of the Eagles trading for Kenny Pickett and said Howie Roseman must do this. Chris has not stopped his love for Kenny Pickett. He called back in after the Super Bowl to kind of issue a mea culpa to Jalen Hurts because he was basically saying the Eagles need Kenny Pickett because Jalen Hurts is no good. Jalen Hurts just won a Super Bowl MVP. Chris in California, who is an Eagles fan, he called in to Rich Eisen. I have not heard this. All righty, let's go.
Chris in California, you're on the Rich Eisen Show. What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's going on, Rich?
What's going on, man?
I'm a football fan. I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm also a Kenny Pickett fan, and I just want to see him get his fair opportunity, and just change the narrative of him being a backup or small hands, whatever the negative narrative they got going around him. I'd like for him to get a fair opportunity and change that. Howie and Mickey Loomis need to get on the same page and get perhaps a trade happen for Pickett to go to New Orleans so he can just rejoin Kellen Moore and Doug Nussmeier. What is your thought on that?
Interesting, Chris. We'll see what you know. What? Thanks for the call.
We got to get Rich on. I will reach out to Rich. I got to see if we get Rich on some point next week. And Rich is like, interesting, probably like, what the heck is this guy calling me about? That's a creme de la creme broadcaster in Rich Eisen. When Chris in California posed those shenanigans on this show, all right, it's expected. When you're dealing with the legendary Rich Eisen, Rich is probably like, what the heck are we doing here? He was not expecting that phone call. And you're like, oh, interesting. It's like, get the bleep off the show, I'd have to imagine. Finally, Sean McVay. Did he try to convince Aaron Donald to return? Part of my take, Barcel.
Was there a point this year where you did send that text to Aaron Donald and you're like, hey, how are you feeling? Ha.
He was at my house for after we had played Minnesota earlier on in the season. It was a Thursday night game, so we had a birthday for my son Jordan. It was his first birthday, and I think I caught a couple vodka sodas too many, and I definitely was trying to convince him of that. And he's like, hey, bro, we've already been down this road, man. You know that's not happening.
Sean McVay, John Gruden on helium. That's all I hear whenever Sean McVay speaks. All right, that's a news brief. I'll give you a minute on the NHL trade deadline since I am considered the hockey guy here on the Monday through Friday lineup. Mikko Rantanen. I can't believe this. I know there was rumors of it. This guy just got traded to Carolina. I'm like, uh-oh, the Hurricanes are going to be a problem. And then now he's with the Stars, and the Stars inked the contract. If Pete DeBoer doesn't win a Stanley Cup now, and I hope Pete DeBoer wins a Stanley Cup because he deserves it. He's had so many good teams. If he doesn't win one now, I don't know when he will win one. So Rantanen's now on the Stars, and Brad Marchand going to the Panthers. I know Kachuk is now out for the rest of the regular season, and he'll somehow come back. But, man, did they need any more help? I don't think so. You know what? Panthers Stars Stanley Cup final. I could sign up for that. That would be fun as a hockey fan. And also, I wonder if the Chief, Berube, could finally get the Toronto Maple Leafs over the hump. They've had a good regular season, but it's different having a good regular season in Toronto and then doing so in the postseason. All righty. Fun week. Be back on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. Samter, thank you. Nico, thank you. Ack, thank you. Each and every one of you listening and watching us. Thank you. Talk to you Monday, everybody. I'm Zach Gelb. We out. Bye-bye. Peace!
You're in a 5-minute break.